In the heart of a deep pine forest, the gnome village woke up to a frosty morning. The rooftops of the mushroom-shaped houses sparkled with snow, and the air was crisp and fresh. Tiny icicles hung from window ledges, glinting in the pale sunlight. Oliver the gnome, known for his adventurous spirit, stood outside his cozy home, staring at a map he had pinned to a tree trunk. For weeks, he had been hearing tales of the legendary rainbow fish, a creature whose scales shimmered with magical colors. The rainbow fish was said to live far away in the shimmering sea, a place very few had visited. Oliver's heart raced with excitement as he decided that today was the day he would begin his journey to find this magnificent creature. Inside Oliver's warm, cozy house, the smell of pine wood filled the air as a small fire crackled in the stone fireplace. The walls were lined with shelves full of jars, trinkets, and books about magical creatures. Oliver carefully laid out everything he thought he might need for the journey. He packed his leather satchel with a map, a small lantern, a pouch of dried berries, a flask of warm tea, and his favorite book about sea creatures. He also took his trusty walking stick, which had an intricately carved owl at the top. He paused for a moment, looking around his snug little home, and smiled. The thought of discovering the rainbow fish filled him with both excitement and curiosity. Oliver stepped outside into the chilly air, his boots crunching through the fresh snow. The path leading out of the village was covered in a thick layer of frost, and tall pine trees lined the way, their branches heavy with snow. As he adjusted his satchel and gripped his walking stick, he felt the excitement of the adventure ahead. The shimmering sea was far, and the journey would take days, but Oliver was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. He followed the winding path out of the village, occasionally stopping to marvel at the beauty of the snowy forest. The sound of chirping birds and the gentle rustle of the trees kept him company. By midday, Oliver arrived at the edge of a wide, frozen river. The surface was smooth and gleaming, reflecting the pale sunlight like a giant mirror. He paused to study his map, confirming that the river was the fastest way to continue his journey. Testing the ice with his walking stick, he stepped cautiously onto the frozen surface. The ice creaked softly under his boots, but it held firm. Step by step, he crossed the river, his breath forming small clouds in the cold air. About halfway across, he spotted a family of deer drinking from a small, unfrozen stream along the riverbank. The sight made him smile, filling him with a sense of wonder. After crossing the river, Oliver entered a section of the forest known as the Singing Pines. The tall trees swayed gently in the wind, creating soft, melodic notes that seemed almost magical. The snow on the ground sparkled as the sun filtered through the branches, creating a kaleidoscope of light. Oliver stopped to take it all in, the peaceful music of the forest filling his heart with joy. Suddenly, he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye. A playful squirrel darted across his path, carrying an acorn almost as big as its head. It paused to look at him, its tiny nose twitching, before scampering up a tree. Oliver chuckled and waved before continuing his journey, energized by the beauty of his surroundings. As the day turned to evening, the forest grew darker, and a faint glow appeared in the distance. It flickered like a rainbow, lighting up the snowy landscape ahead. Intrigued, Oliver quickened his pace, eager to see what was creating the magical light. The glow grew brighter with every step, casting colorful reflections on the trees and the snow. Soon, Oliver found himself at the edge of a clearing, where he saw a series of glowing crystals embedded in the ground. They shimmered with every color of the rainbow, lighting up the clearing like a magical lantern. Oliver knelt down to examine them, feeling their gentle warmth. He realized he was on the right path and felt a renewed sense of purpose. As the forest darkened, Oliver decided to set up camp for the night. He found a small, sheltered spot beneath a cluster of fir trees, where the snow was thinner. He cleared the area and spread out his warm blanket. Above him, the sky stretched out like a giant canvas, dotted with countless stars. The constellations sparkled brightly, and a faint streak of the Milky Way arched overhead. He lit his lantern, its soft golden glow keeping the cold darkness at bay. Oliver sipped from his flask of warm tea, listening to the distant hoots of an owl and the soft rustle of the wind through the trees. The magical crystals he had seen earlier seemed to echo in his dreams, filling him with a sense of wonder as he drifted off to sleep. At dawn, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, Oliver woke to the sound of soft footsteps in the snow. A sleek red fox appeared at the edge of the clearing, its amber eyes gleaming. The fox seemed unafraid, and it carried a small scroll tied to its neck with a ribbon. Oliver gently approached, and the fox sat patiently as he untied the scroll. The message was written in elegant, swirling letters and spoke of the rainbow fish's magical power to bring balance and light to the world. The note also warned of challenges ahead, advising him to stay true to his path. Oliver thanked the fox, which gave a playful flick of its tail before disappearing into the forest. Later that day, Oliver reached a rushing stream too wide to cross by foot. Spanning the stream was an old stone bridge, covered in frost and moss. The bridge looked ancient, with runes carved into its stones that glowed faintly as Oliver approached. He stepped onto the bridge cautiously, feeling a gentle vibration underfoot. As he reached the middle, the runes lit up in a bright blue light, and the air around him shimmered. For a moment, he thought he saw visions of the rainbow fish swimming in the air, its colorful scales gleaming. Oliver paused, taking in the wonder of the moment, before continuing across the bridge. By mid-afternoon, dark clouds gathered overhead, and a fierce snowstorm swept through the forest. The wind howled, and thick snowflakes fell so heavily that Oliver could barely see a few steps ahead. He tightened his scarf and trudged forward, his walking stick sinking into the deep snow. Despite the biting cold and howling winds, Oliver pressed on, determined to stay on the path marked on his map. After what felt like hours, he spotted a hollow tree and ducked inside to take shelter. There, he caught his breath and warmed his hands, feeling grateful for the small reprieve from the storm. When the storm finally cleared, Oliver emerged to find himself in a vast, frosted meadow. The snow sparkled under the sunlight like a field of diamonds, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of pine and fresh snow. In the middle of the meadow stood a large, frozen pond surrounded by willow trees. As Oliver walked across the meadow, he noticed colorful birds perched on the willow branches, chirping softly. The serene beauty of the meadow filled him with hope and reminded him of why he had started his journey. After days of travel, Oliver finally reached the shimmering sea. The vast expanse of water stretched out before him, shimmering with hues of blue, green, and gold. The waves gently lapped at the shore, and the air smelled of salt and freedom. The beach was covered in smooth, multicolored pebbles, and seashells were scattered everywhere. Far out on the horizon, Oliver thought he saw a glimmer of rainbow light dancing on the waves. His heart raced as he realized he was close to finding the rainbow fish. Standing on the shore of the shimmering sea, Oliver noticed something extraordinary. A pod of dolphins leaped playfully out of the water, their sleek bodies catching the golden light of the sun. They seemed to be signaling him, guiding him to a small wooden boat tied to a nearby dock. The boat was decorated with seashells and ropes made of seaweed, as if waiting just for him. With determination in his heart, Oliver climbed into the boat. As he untied the ropes, the dolphin swam ahead, leading the way toward the glimmer of rainbow light on the horizon. As the boat glided further into the sea, Oliver found himself surrounded by a breathtaking phenomenon. The water began to glow with bioluminescent lights, casting a magical blue-green glow around the boat. The dolphins swam in synchronized patterns, creating trails of light that looked like dancing stars in the ocean. Schools of fish with glowing scales darted beneath the boat, forming mesmerizing shapes. The air felt alive with energy, and Oliver couldn't help but feel awestruck by the beauty of the ocean's wonders. Following the dolphins, Oliver's boat came to a stop near an underwater coral reef that shimmered in vivid colors. Suddenly, a whirlpool of water formed, gently lifting Oliver and the boat into a shimmering bubble. The bubble carried him beneath the waves, allowing him to breathe and see the vibrant underwater world. He marveled at coral towers in shades of red, orange, and purple, surrounded by fish of every size and color. Giant sea turtles glided gracefully, while seahorses floated in the currents. The reef pulsed with life, and Oliver could feel its magic in every ripple. The bubble carried Oliver to the entrance of a massive underwater cave. The walls of the cave shimmered with rainbow-colored crystals, illuminating the dark waters. The dolphins stopped at the entrance, encouraging Oliver to go forward alone. The bubble opened, and Oliver stepped onto the crystalline floor. The light from the crystals danced across the walls, creating a kaleidoscope of colors. As he ventured deeper into the cave, he felt a sense of anticipation building. He knew he was getting closer to meeting the rainbow fish. As Oliver ventured further into the rainbow cave, he encountered two enormous eels guarding the path. Their sleek, shimmering bodies glowed faintly, and their eyes sparkled with intelligence. The eels coiled around a large crystal archway, blocking the way. They didn't look threatening but radiated a sense of power and protection. Oliver stepped forward cautiously, presenting the map given to him by the wise owl. The eels studied it, their movements slow and deliberate, before uncoiling to reveal the path ahead. Oliver bowed respectfully and continued on his way. Beyond the crystal archway, Oliver stepped into an awe-inspiring underwater lagoon. The water was calm and clear, glowing with golden light from the lagoon's sandy floor. At the center, a large coral throne sat atop a small hill, surrounded by swaying sea anemones. Sitting regally on the throne was a rainbow fish, its scales shimmering with every color imaginable. The light from its scales lit up the entire lagoon, creating a dazzling display that filled Oliver with a sense of peace and joy. The rainbow fish swam gracefully toward Oliver, its scales gleaming brighter with every movement. It circled him, creating a vortex of shimmering light, before presenting him with one of its radiant scales. The scale glowed warmly in Oliver's hands, and he felt a surge of energy and wisdom flow through him. The rainbow fish's gift was a token of trust and a reminder to share kindness and light wherever he went. The lagoon seemed to hum with approval as Oliver bowed deeply, thanking the majestic creature. The magical bubble reappeared, lifting Oliver from the lagoon and carrying him back to the surface. As he emerged from the water, the dolphins greeted him with joyful leaps, guiding his boat back to the shore. The sky was painted with the colors of a magnificent sunset, and Oliver felt a deep sense of accomplishment and wonder. Holding the rainbow fish's glowing scale close to his heart, he knew his journey had transformed him. The shimmering sea grew calm behind him as he walked away, ready to share the magic of his adventure with the world.